everyone, welcome back to my channel. Thank you so much for being here. Today's video is going to be about me giving you tips for your assessment days if you are applying to be cabin crew or a flight attendant, and I'm also going to be giving you some interview tips. Now, I do have to say I'm obviously not a recruiter. I am not sponsored. I do not work for a recruitment company. I work for an airline, and I'm purely going to be talking to you about my experience, how my assessment day went, and the tips that I found were useful. I did my research before I went to my assessment day. I was watching videos on YouTube, and because I had so many requests on doing this video, I thought it would be very useful for some of you who have some assessment days coming up, or just if you're interested in how it all works, or if you're interested in becoming a flight attendant. So I've got my list of things that I need to include in the video, so let's get started. So as I said, this video is purely just to sort of point you in the right direction. Obviously, this doesn't guarantee that you're going to get the job. Okay, so first of all, I think it's important that you sort of look into the different airlines and sort of decide what is best for you. By that I mean there's short haul and there's long haul. So have a look at both and see which one you prefer. I have actually written a blog post about this, so if you would like to find out sort of the differences of both long haul and short haul, if you would like to see sort of the pros and disadvantages, then head over to my blog. I'll put a link, put my blog right here, and I will also be leaving a link to the blog post in the comment section down below, so make sure you check that out. I also have two websites for you. I actually haven't been able to find the website that I used when I was looking for to see what airlines were recruiting at the time. Maybe they're not around, or maybe they've just changed their name because it was like quite a few years ago, 2.5 years ago. So, but I've got two new websites for you, so I'm going to be putting the link just on the screen right now. So one of them is airlinecareer.com and the other one is flightattendantcareer.com. So those two are really useful websites. Basically, they have a list of all the airlines, and then it will say next to them if they're recruiting at the moment or they're not. And then it will also have a link to their website, so you can apply right there. Second of all, let's say that you have applied, you have sent your CV, and you got it. I am honestly not too sure if every airline does it the same way, but the way that it worked for me was I got a response saying that I got it, and I was super happy. And the next stage was for me to do a video interview. So that basically is just you talking. It's like a Skype interview, but there's no one on the other side. It's just, I think maybe like 5 questions or so that appear on the screen, and you have like a minute or two to answer. So I would advise, I honestly can't remember what the questions were, but they're quite similar to normal interview questions. So like, tell me from your previous job, a time where you had to solve a difficult problem, or just different things like that. So it can be quite nerve-wracking, but make sure that you are dressed well. So just make sure that you've got your hair up, or that it's neat, and like wearing a shirt with a blazer or something. So just make sure that you look smart for that as well. Dress the same as you would for the interview. Obviously, it doesn't matter what you wear on the bottom. You could be in your pajamas, you could wear whatever, but just it is up to like here. So yeah. But also, having said that, a lot of airlines don't do that. So it completely depends on the airline that you are applying for. And then second of all, you're going to be going to an open day or an assessment day. They could lead from one to another, or they could be the same thing, or it could be the final stage. So it really does depend on the sort of airline that you are going for. So you will most likely be receiving an email to tell you where it is, what day, anyway you turn up. Make sure that you are early, okay? I cannot tell you how important it is that you are very early. Being on time is honestly one of the most important things when it comes to this job. So make sure that you arrive at least half an hour early. You will most likely have to go to reception, sign in, and then just sit down in the lobby and wait for your name to be called, or wait for everyone to be called into the room. So that's how your day will most likely go. You arrive, you sign in, you give them the documents that you have been asked to take with you. Most likely it will be another copy of your CV, your passport, maybe like a photocopied page of your passport. It's probably going to be things like that. So after that, you sit down, you wait for everyone to be called in. then most companies like to do sort of like a presentation. So you will all go into like a big room and they will just basically talk about the company for maybe 20 minutes or so, just to tell you what it's like to be cabin crew for them, or sort of like give you an insight of what it's like, maybe the destinations that they fly to and different things like that. But also, having said that, it is very important to do your own research before you turn up. So I've done my research both of the times that I went to my assessment day, both of the airlines that I have worked for. Just simple things, you know, everyday things. Who's the owner? When was it found? What places do they fly to? What planes do they fly on? If they have any partners, like other airlines, for example. So yeah, make sure you do some research because it will definitely benefit you. And just in case they do ask you, at least they can see that you have come prepared, you know stuff about the company. But then on the other hand, to be honest, if you don't know much about the company, then just be honest. But do your research, okay? After that, after sort of like the company presentation, you will most likely be divided into groups. It depends how many of you there are on the day. And then you will be doing some group activities. I will go into more detail about that later. And then after that, I mean, your group will become smaller and smaller throughout the day, which might seem a bit scary, but honestly, don't worry about it and just have some faith in yourself. So after that, you will most likely just be sent out to the waiting area or the lobby where you first went, and you're probably going to have to wait quite a while because there are a lot of decisions for them to make sure that they recruit the right people for the job. So it will most likely take a while. So yeah, just bear in mind and just please have patience. I mean, it depends on the company or it depends on a day. Sometimes they will tell you to go home and wait for a phone call, or they will send you an email. It's most likely going to be a phone call just to sort of tell you like, well done, you've got the job. Okay, so going back to my list, I know this is a bit all over the place. I'm so sorry. There's so many things to sort of tell you about. Okay, so first of all, you need to make sure that you plan, okay? You need to plan your journey. You need to plan your outfits, plan everything just so you're prepared and so that it takes stress off yourself. Because there will be so many other things that you would sort of be like nervous about on the day. If you just plan ahead, then it's going to sort of prevent you from being even more nervous. Make sure that you wear business attire. So for men, wear a suit, a smart suit, whatever color you like. I mean, not whatever color you like navy, brown, grey, black. And wear a shirt and also wear a tie, leather shoes. You'll be fine. For ladies, wear a smart shirt and also like a lady suit. So what I wore was, I wore a black skirt down to my knees, I wore a white shirt and a grey blazer. I also had some black heels on with tights. I had my hair up and had a red lipstick on. I would definitely advise for you to have your hair up just because you will be having your hair up on the day as well. I mean, not on the day, when you are cabin crew. So you need to sort of show them what you would look like working for them, if you know what I mean. For my airline, they require us to wear red lipstick, so for my assessment day I wore red lipstick just for them to be able to see what I would look like basically. Regarding your nails, I would advise to wear either nude nail polish or like French tips or light pink, anything that sort of complements your skin color, but definitely do keep it simple. I would also advise for girls to have their hair up if it's long enough, just because it gives them a better image of what you would look like, and basically it's nice to have your hair out of your face. And lastly, make sure that you have a good posture. Make sure that you stand up straight throughout the whole day. I know it can be tiring, but yeah, it definitely says a lot about the person, so I think it's definitely important to show them that you have a good attitude throughout the day, have nice posture. So don't be like slouching throughout the day, or when you're sitting down waiting, don't be like, you know, crossing your arms and things like that, just because it might show them that you're impatient or that you're annoyed or bored, if you know what I mean. So just be relaxed and yeah. Make sure that you are smiley. This job requires you to be very smiley, just because from the moment that you get on the plane, you will be smiling at the passengers. And so yeah, show them that you've got a really pretty smile, and yeah, show them that you are happy to be there. So yeah, all of what I've just mentioned so far are part of sort of like your first impressions from the moment that you arrive, and first impressions are very important. So as I said, there's going to be quite a few of you, and there's going to be group activities, and there's going to be a lot of waiting. And if I could give you one advice, that's my wake up call. So where were we? Yes, if I could give you one advice about the whole day is to talk to others. It's very likely that there's going to be a lot of you. So make sure that you speak to everyone, find out what their previous career was, or if they flew before, if this is their first flying job. And to be honest, you know what? It's building relationships with the other people that are there on the assessment day is really going to help you. So it's going to help you build relationships. Also, it's going to stand out to the people interviewing you because it shows you that you are confident, it shows you that you are outgoing, and that you are making an effort to sort of make friends or socialize with the others. And to be honest, it is really going to benefit yourself as well, because when you're waiting but then you're talking to the others, it's going to make the time go by so much quicker, and it's also going to really help your nerves. So I mean, it definitely helped my nerves so much. I was nervous, okay? I'm sure everyone would be nervous to be there, you know. Okay, so moving on to what you're going to be doing. The group activities is nothing to be worried about. It's actually a lot of fun. They're going to be giving you different scenarios, and you're going to have to come up with an answer and feed it back to the people who are interviewing you. So the questions could be anything. For example, you've got 6 people who have booked an upper class seat, but there's only 1 seat left. So you're going to have to speak to the other 5 people and let them know that unfortunately you don't have a seat for them. But you need to come up all together for the person that you are going to send into upper class. So that could be a celebrity, a mum with a baby, someone with a broken leg, someone who's going to a business meeting, someone who is a regular customer. So the biggest tip I can tell you about that is to just be smiley, be interactive, and most importantly, everyone thinks that your answer is super important, and honestly, whatever answer you go with, it really doesn't matter. So your answer so one group could pick the mum with a baby could be just as good as the person who picks the regular customer. Seriously? Okay, so the only thing that really matters is that you are deciding the whole scenario as a group, and that you are communicating, and that you are taking part in this group activity, okay? So don't sit back and let everyone do the work, but then also don't be the one who takes the lead and sort of goes like, we need to pick the celebrity because he's important and he's paid a lot for the flight, and the mom with the baby isn't important because, you know. So definitely state your opinion, but don't be too straightforward, and make sure that you put an emphasis on, okay, so what does everyone think? Or, oh, okay, I definitely agree. I think that's a really good point. You know, things like that. Definitely show the person who's interviewing you or your group that you can work as a team, you can agree with your mates, and that's very important. You don't want to be the one who is bossy and who, you know, takes the lead out of... It's good to take the lead, but not in this case, because it is a group activity. You need to be able to show them that you are really good in working as a team. Because basically on board there's going to be, well, between 6 and 15 of you, or even 18 of you, depending on what airline and what aircraft you're going to be working on. So it really is all about working as a team. Something that's also important is that you do your research on what the airline sort of requires you to have and don't have. By that I mean some airlines require you to be 21. I know that, for example, Emirates and Etihad require their crew to be 21 years old. Also, another thing is height requirements. And as silly as it might seem, the overhead lockers on the plane are really tall. So they just need to make sure that you are basically able to reach as far as the overhead lockers and close them. So different airlines do different things. For my first airline, they just measured our height. I think you had to be 5'2" and above, I think. And for my second airline, they just made you close an overhead locker that was, I think, maybe 210 centimeters tall. I can't quite remember. You can stand on your toes to reach, but you just can't wear any shoes. So as long as you can reach and close it, that's absolutely fine. Okay, so another thing is make sure that you don't have any visible tattoos, because they are going to ask you quite a few times. So because as you can see, this is my uniform shirt and I can't have any tattoos under like my sleeve, anywhere like in this part or my neck or down my legs from my knee like downwards, because we do need to wear a skirt, so even your tights covering your tattoo isn't really going to work. I mean, okay, so this is quite a bit of a tough one, because I know a lot of crew who do have tattoos on their wrist, but they either use concealer to cover it up, or they use plasters, or sometimes they even sort of cover it with their watch. If you're brave enough to cover it with something, that's absolutely fine. If it's small, if it's on your finger, just, you know, cover it with a bit of concealer, it's fine. But if you do really want the job, just make sure that you know what, let's say, oh, so hello, do you have any tattoos? Oh yeah, I've got one on my finger right here and also here. Well, that's going to be an instant no. Don't tell them. I know this might be considered as cheating, but if you really do want the job, sometimes there's things that you really do need to do in order to, you know, get the job. You could be honest and you could be like, oh, okay, so I've got one on my arm here, but I'm going to get it removed. Or just don't say it, okay? So you could have a tattoo like anywhere here. Honestly, it doesn't matter where you've got a tattoo. As long as it's not visible, it's okay. But just in case they do ask you if you've got a tattoo, and even if it's like on your chest, just say no. They're never gonna know, because they're not gonna see you without your uniform on. Most airlines will also be doing a maths or an English test. I'm not too sure whether this is a thing that a lot of airlines do. The final stage is most likely going to be a one-to-one interview, and so it's going to be you and one person from the airline interviewing you. They are just going to be asking you how you think the day went, how you think you're doing, if you're liking it so far, and just a few questions about similar to your video interview. So they're going to be asking you questions like, give me an example of when you had to overcome something difficult in the workplace, and then you basically are going to tell them what your solution was to the problem that you were dealing with and how you did it and how you felt basically. Or another question could be, give me a moment when you felt really proud of yourself in your previous career or your current career. So you just give them an example, and yeah, but you know, take your time, don't rush, think as you speak. I find it's a good idea to, let's say that they ask you, tell me about a time you had difficulties at work or something, but then also make sure that you turn the negative into a positive, because that will show them that no matter what problem you're facing, you've got a solution and that you're a positive person and that you can basically make it go right. Okay, so that basically is everything that you're going to be doing that day. You might get an answer on that day to tell you that it's a no, and please don't feel like it's the end for you. I know it really isn't a nice thing to be told that you haven't been successful, but you know, you can always apply again. Maybe it's a sign that that airline just isn't right for you, and there's so many other airlines out there that you could apply to, or just any other jobs if in the end you decide that this airline isn't right for you. And also don't give up and just keep trying. So as I said, there's a lot of airlines out there who are looking for cabin crews, so I'm sure one of them would definitely love to have you. And if it is a yes, then you're going to be receiving a phone call. Also make sure that you've got your phone on you, just because it looks really bad if you don't answer their phone call to tell you that you've got your job. When they tell you that you've got the job, be happy. Show them that it's something that you've wanted. Okay, so at this point you have got the job so far, but until you've got your wings, you know, until you graduate and have your, you know, your training and everything out the way, nothing is 100%. So just make sure that you stay positive and that you do everything that they basically require you to do. So one of those things is basically a security clearance. So they're going to be doing a background check on you to make sure that you know, you don't have any like criminal things, that you haven't left the country for, you know, different reasons, I'm not sure. And that's basically to provide them with a 5-year check to show you what you have been up to the past 5 years. So that's obviously going to include, I mean, I was 19 when I applied, so I had to go all the way back to when I was 14. So that was another 3-4 years of being at school, and then a year of, you know, I worked in a bar previously and at reception. So yeah, it's basically like a history check of like previous jobs that you had and previous places that you've lived before and just things like that. And then after that, you are going to be required to do a medical check. So you're going to have to go to a doctor that does these things for cabin crew, just because they're more familiar and everything. Yes, so there's going to be a list of things that you need to go through, and it's nothing to worry about. It's basically just like an eye test, I can't even remember, I think they test like your hearing, your eyesight, your just like a general check of your body to make sure that you are fit to fly. And then after this, you're going to be receiving jabs that you need. So let's say that you're going to work for a long haul airline, so you're going to be going to places like, you know, America, Africa, India, places like that. So some countries require you to have jabs, vaccinations, so you're going to be getting a list, and your airline is going to make sure that you basically receive everything before you start flying. And then also, if you're going to be, again, flying to the US and different places, then it's required for you to have a visa. So if you don't have a visa yet, then you are going to have to go through the process of getting your visa. And to be honest, I felt like a proper adult when I was doing all this, you know. I mean, I was 20 when I came to my second airline. So after all of that is done, you are going to be getting an email to tell you when you are going to start with your training. So again, every airline is very different. My training was 6 weeks long, and you know, I enjoyed it. It was a lot of fun. So yes, I believe that's everything. I don't know, this process was actually really long for me. I think from the point of me sending off my CV to the day that I started my training was about 6 months. So yeah, but it definitely was worth waiting so long, and it's definitely paid off. And yes, so I hope that these interview tips, assessment day tips, have been useful for you. And please let me know in the comment section down below if you are looking to apply to an airline, if you've already had your assessment day, or if you're watching this video because you've got an assessment day coming up. I'm very interested to hear about you. So yes, please let me know. I am definitely interested. And yeah, this has been a very highly requested video, and I am so happy that I have managed to film this. I hope that this has been useful to some of you. Please don't forget to subscribe to my channel. Also, don't forget to give this video a big thumbs up. Thank you so much for watching, and I will see you in my next video. Bye!